There are two ways to say fentanyl. I usually go with the one that is not in the dictionary. Find out which one is my go to and which one is in the dictionary in this episode. We'll also talk about two common mispronunciations of fentanyl today. Let's get started. Welcome to the Pharmacist's Voice podcast, where we talk about pharmacy topics, including drug pronunciations. I'm your host and registered pharmacist, Kim Newlove. This is episode 285. Fentanyl has been in the news frequently in recent years here in the United States. It is classified as a C2 opioid analgesic, but it has also been found in street drugs. What's been my experience with fentanyl? In my experience as an Ohio licensed pharmacist in both hospital and retail settings, a lot of fentanyl has passed through my hands. The injectable kind and the patch kind, never the street kind. When I was a hospital intern in the late 90s and the year 2000, I remember compounding fentanyl PCAs for patients. Fentanyl PCAs. If you don't know what PCAs are, that's patient-controlled analgesia. Then, as a hospital pharmacist in the year 2001, I refilled a lot of anesthesia boxes with fentanyl for the anesthesiology staff. That was one of my duties. Then, when I worked in a community practice setting or retail pharmacy setting, I dispensed my fair share of Duragesic patches. I think later on they became generic fentanyl patches, but either way, it was fentanyl. Again, a lot of fentanyl has passed through my hands in the last 2 decades. I have said the word fentanyl a number of times. Whether you're a pharmacist, a pharmacy student, a journalist, a politician, or someone else who just likes to say drug names the right way, this episode is for you. I provide evidence-based drug name pronunciations from reliable sources so you feel more confident saying them and less frustrated learning them. I hope this episode helps you. How do my drug name pronunciation episodes work? I'll divide fentanyl into syllables, tell you which syllable to emphasize, and share my source. The written pronunciation can be helpful, of course, so you can see that in the show notes on thepharmacistvoice.com. Click on the podcast tab and then go to episode 285. Let's get started. According to the USP Dictionary Online, fentanyl has 3 syllables. They are fentanyl. Fentanyl. Fen, like Fenway Park, the famous baseball stadium in Boston. Ta, like Toledo, Ohio. And nil, which rhymes with pill. So that's fentanyl. Put all 3 syllables together and you get fentanyl. Emphasize fen. See if you can hear that emphasis when I say it again. Fentanyl. Fentanyl. Again, my source is the USP Dictionary Online. It is my go-to resource for generic drug name pronunciations. It is a subscription-based resource, so if you want to subscribe to it, check out the link in the show notes on thepharmacistvoice.com. Although I trust the USP Dictionary Online, I often say fentanyl. That is my go-to pronunciation. Fentanyl. I say fentanyl as a 2-syllable drug name. Fentanyl. That's fent, which rhymes with dent, and nil, which rhymes with pill. Fentanyl. Emphasize fent. See if you can hear the emphasis when I say it again. Fentanyl. Fentanyl. My brain knows that fentanyl is the correct way to say this drug name, but when I learned it in school and when I used the drug name in practice, I said fentanyl. Even though I have a personal bias and I say fentanyl, I consider both to be correct, just like I consider the pronunciation of the word interview to be also interview, or the word hickory to also be hickory. There are so many words in the English language that we kind of mash together. Interesting is interesting. There's so many examples. Mississippi is Mississippi. So many people say it differently. For the record, the correct pronunciation is fentanyl. 3 syllables, fentanyl. Now that you know the official pronunciation, fentanyl, and my go-to as an Ohio pharmacist who has dispensed her fair share of fentanyl, you can make a choice for yourself which one you will use. Again, fentanyl is correct. One is enunciated, the other is not. Two common mispronunciations that I hear are fentanyl, null like doll, and fentanyl, null, as in German we say null is the number 0, null. In English we say a null hypothesis, for example, something that amounts to 0. Again, fentanyl and fentanyl are not correct. Those are mispronunciations. But do we all understand what drug we're talking about even when somebody says it wrong? Yes, I personally think so. But if you want to get it right, fentanyl should be your go-to. The purpose of my drug name pronunciation series is to provide the correct pronunciations from reliable sources so you sound more confident saying them and less frustrated learning them. I hope this episode helps you say fentanyl correctly. Thank you for joining me to learn how to say fentanyl. To find the show notes for this episode, go to thepharmacistvoice.com, click on the podcast tab, and search for episode 285. In the show notes, you'll find the written pronunciation for fentanyl, links to the other 33 episodes in my drug name pronunciation series, my social media links, and more. LinkedIn is my favorite. Please reach out and connect. And if you're looking for a narrator for your voiceover project, medical narration project specifically, please reach out to me through my website, thepharmacistvoice.com. If you know someone who would like to learn how to say fentanyl, please share this episode with them. And if you like this podcast, please subscribe to or follow the Pharmacist Voice podcast on your favorite podcast player and YouTube to get each new episode right when it comes out. Thanks for listening today. I'll talk to you next Friday. Just a quick bonus for you. It is 9:00 p.m. on Wednesday, July 3rd, 2024. I'm about to walk over to the fireworks display for my community. My neighbors are shooting off little firecrackers. I don't know if you could hear any of that during this recording, but it was going on as I recorded. But the show must go on. There are only so many hours in a day. I had to get this done. Hope you have a great 4th of July weekend. Take care.